Hello everybody, it is Joanne here from Design with Jo, and I am so happy to have you here. So I am going to feature the sweetest Christmas sweet, and there's a lot of sweetness there, just like a candy cane. And we're going to be creating something with it tonight though that is 3D, and it makes a fantastic gift for anybody that you give, like something where you're just letting somebody know that you really appreciate them, that you appreciate maybe what they've done for you over the course of the year. Could be the dog walker, or it could be the babysitter, could be your investment guy, could be your hairstylist, anybody, because it's a really quick little gift and it really doesn't cost very much for you to make. Now I know we're winding down, we've got lots of things on our plate right now, but this is a project you're gonna like. Okay, so sweetest Christmas. So this is the paper, and I have a template for you tonight too. So when I bring it out, you might want to just take a screenshot on your phone because it has all of the measurements for you. But we're playing with the sweetest Christmas. So it is a package of 12 by 12. I like this one because it doesn't have too many colors in it. So it basically has 4 or 5 colors if you consider white a color. So we have garden green, pool party, we have real red, sweet sorbet, and then basic white is in there as well. Now I'm going to pull in my template because this piece of paper is 4 by 9.5. Okay, so 4 on the short side by 9.5. And this is the template right here. Okay, so we are going to score it a bunch of different places on the long side and then just 2 places on the short side. So I'm going to pull this back in just a minute. Okay, so you can, don't worry, we'll have it back again. Let me grab my Simply Scored. Okay, so now what I normally decide is what's going to be the side that I want to be out. Here is both sides. So we're going to say diagonal stripes or green dots. So we want that to be what we see. So that needs to be upside down or on the bottom, okay, on the reverse. However you want to talk about that. So then what we're going to do is we're going to score this on this long side at a 1/2 inch. Now I get questions sometime about what end I like to use on my burnisher. And I mostly use the smaller end. And one of the reasons why I use the small end is I find that it gives me a crisper score line. And this one is just a little bit bigger. Now, I'm going to make a little comment about that though. When you have designer series paper, vellum, any of your paper that isn't as thick as cardstock, you want to just have a little bit of a lighter hand, especially when you're using the smaller one. Okay, so we are going to go 1/2 inch, 1 inch. So I use all of my marks up here. Now the 1/2 inch is fairly challenging. So I usually hold it with my left hand to make sure that it is right against this side and right against that side. Now it has nowhere to go. It has to go right up and be snug there. So I'm going to go 1/2 inch. So if you go lightly, maybe do 2. I'm going to do 1 inch. And I'll bring that template back in just a minute. 4.5, 5, and you could just do 1, and 5.5. I find if I go too light, then I get off the track. And 9.5. Oh, I'm sorry, 9. I see I've made a little error on my template. The half shouldn't be there, so it's 9. Now what we're going to do is we are going to turn it 90 degrees so that we have the short side at the top, and we're going to score this at, well, it's hard to look at here. I'm going to start at the 1/2 inch and 3. So 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch here, and 3. Now, it's going to be a little bit difficult to see it on that side, but I think you can see the lines a little bit more on this side. So that's it for the scoring. So there is quite a bit of scoring on this guy here. And now what we're going to do next is we are going to cut. Now, because I want this is going to be the inside of my bag. I want my 1/2 inch at the top, which it is, and my inch at the bottom, which it is. So this is the bottom of the bag, and when we are making it, we're going to end up seeing the, oh, I did it the wrong way. I'm going to see the diagonals. Now, it's going to be a little hard to see, but let's cut it this way. So what we want to do, let me hold it this way, is we want to cut these two here. I'm on the wrong side. I have to do it this way and we can't really see. Okay, I'm going to cut and hope that you're going to be able to see. Okay, so there's little score lines here. Go right up to that cross score line. So I'm taking away this one right here. Then I'm going to take away this one at the top. And so we're going through two. We're really going to the 1 inch mark there. That's going to come off there. Okay, so now we need to take this guy and this guy both off. And it's really, really difficult. I know it's hard for you to see, but I'm trying to follow the template. And when we decided on those dots, that created a bit of a challenge. Now I'm going to just fold this under here. I'm going to do the same thing down here. I'm going to fold it under and then I'm going to cut it off. So I'm just cutting up on my lines right to the score line. I'm going to cut it this way because it's just a little easier. And you can just cut these off flush. Now, if it's difficult for you to do this, I just pull these ones back here too and get them out of the way. That's another little trick that you can do if that works for you. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this one and this one off as well. So we're going to do it this way. It's the only problem with using designer paper sometimes is that it's difficult to see. Okay, so we are going to have all of these pieces off here, okay? So there's going to be 6 pieces all told that are going to be off. Now we're going to use our bone folder and we're going to crease it up. So wherever you have a score line, go ahead and crease it using your bone folder. Give it a nice crisp edge. So that if this is the bag inside, so this is the way that we want to hold it. Okay, so now it's going to fit just like that. So now here is where we need to think about a couple things. We need to think about where we're going to hole punch, and we are going to put a little hole punch, 2 of them, at the top, and you want to be relatively close to that score line on both sides. In fact, this could even go over a little bit more. So I'm using one of our old hole punches because we don't have them anymore. If you have a crocodile, that will work as well. So I'm just going to punch here and I'm going to punch here. They do not need to be in exactly the same spot, so you don't have to try and measure them up so that they're in the same spot. Okay, so I'm going to pull that aside now because I think that we are done with that. So now it's funny because we normally think about folding a box up like this, right? This one is going to be a little bit different. So I've got to think, okay, we're doing that outside. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a little valley fold in the very middle and sort of fold that over on itself. Okay, so that this is going to end up being our box. Okay, so this one's going to fold under this way. This one is going to fold this way and then back. So we've got these little sides. I'm going to bring over one that is already done. So what we've got are sort of these little vents on both sides, and that's how it's going to go together. So here's one that I have already made. So when it's done, that's what it's going to look like. Okay, so we're going to have a little hole down here for the bottom, which is no big deal, but we're going to have a gusseted side. So we need to figure out where we're going to put our glue. So we're going to use tear and tape for this one. Let me find the end. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to glue these ones together. Okay, so I'm going to put glue. It doesn't matter. I can put glue on this side, the green side, which I think I will, because it's a little bit easier to see against the dots there. So we're going to do this first. So squish it in, squish this side in too, and then just fold it over to meet. And you can line it up so that it's straight. Okay, so there's that. These are eventually going to fold down like this so that we have a contrast on the other side. This is going to be, now because we have the cut side right here, can you see that cut side? I want that to be the back. So we're going to turn it around. That's going to be the back. And when I'm doing a bottom, I always want the front to be folded down to the back. So I'm going to put a little bit of my tear and tape right there. You could use liquid glue for this. I find that the liquid glue just takes a little bit of time. Normally that's wonderful when we have time for it to set up. When we're placing something, but for this I want my box to go together fairly quickly, and I don't want to have to wait too long for it to dry. So I'm just going to fold this right over top. It's going to go right to the other edge, and just try and get that straight. Now just to finish off the bottom, take your bone folder or something and just sort of tap it right down on the bottom. Okay, so there is the front because it goes right around. It doesn't have the opening right here. So this is the front and this is going to be the back. Now what we need to do is put a little bit of double-sided adhesive on there. You can use liquid glue if you want. Again, I am going to use my tear and tape because we are going to, I'm going to put it on here, but I'm not going to put it on quite yet. I'm not going to take it off and put it down because we're going to put some ribbon in there. That's what the holes are for. But I want to be able to hide that ribbon. So I want to show you what a little trick for that. Now, you don't have to put ribbon on here if you don't want. If you would rather just have it sit, you don't need to have ribbon. Okay? Okay, so we are going with the green. So here's what I would like you to do. So you're going to take the ribbon and you're going to take, always when you're putting it in somewhere, you want it to have a nice pointy end like that. Okay, so take the point and you're going to put it in from the front. Put it in from the front into, well, it doesn't really matter. Front and back is what we're going to do. And pull it in and then just loop it around once and make a knot. And then pull that through. Okay, I'm going to trim that off in just a bit too. Now you're going to go to the opposite side. Keep your ribbon nice and flat and go right in the other side and do the exact same thing. Okay, so there's lots of ribbon. With 13 inches, you've got lots of ribbon to play with. You could shorten it up if you wanted. You don't have to have it quite as long. So I'm just going to, so I just did a knot. Just one knot is good. You don't need any more than that. And then pull that through as well. So there's your little ribbon to hold it. That might be a bit much, but I think we're still okay. Now I'm going to take, I didn't get my tear and tape all the way to the end. So let me put a little bit more there. Get that right to the end. And now we're just going to take our tear and tape off. Now if you have a problem getting the backing off, all you have to do is take your pick tool, go in from the side rather than going in from the end. Go in from the side and pull it up. And I've got this little piece I have to do here too. And if you do what I did, which I did on this one, and I have a little bit of extra tape on the end, I'm just going to take my finger and fold that back. So here's what we want to do with the ribbon. We want it to come out sort of toward the edge, okay? But we still want our piece to go down. So you're just going to fold it down on the score line, and then it's going to come out more from the side then. And we're going to do the exact same thing on the back side or the front side. I don't even know which one's front and back anymore. Okay, so we're going to pull it off to the side and we're going to fold it down. Okay, so that is our little bag. So that's all we need to do to make our little bag. You could put all kinds of things in there. What kind of things would you put in that bag? Would you do, you know, if you had some homemade cookies? So my husband made Spritz cookies the other day. Yes, he's actually a pretty darn good baker. And I'm thinking if you put those in a little cellophane bag or just wrap them even in some plastic, you could probably fit a couple of those in there with a gift tag on it. But we're going to fancy that up just a little bit more now. So there's our bag. Cute, cute with the diagonal on there. So we're going to pull in the sweet candy canes. So this is the stamp set. We're going to use just a piece of, I'm using thick basic white, and we need to pick some words. So the words that are going to fit the best here are going to be Christmas cheer and candy cane wishes. Merry and bright could work as well. We're going to go with candy cane wishes then. So that's this guy here. Okay, Christmas cheer is that guy there. Okay, so we're going to go with some green. So we're going to do a little bit of everything here. We are going to stamp the little leaf, whatever you might call that. We are going to stamp Christmas cheer, and we're also going to stamp candy cane wishes. I can't say that tonight. And mistletoe kisses. Now, it doesn't, those look awful, right? Because they're crooked and everything, but it doesn't matter. Because we are going to cut them out, and we're going to cut them out with the mini. Let me grab my mini here because it fits in here really well. So the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Now, if you don't have one of these and you might like one, and you've ever thought that you might like to become a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, that's what the join is for January and February. But it's not a white one. It is a special color. It's called a boho blue, which I think must be one of the new in colors that's coming in next year. So what we need to do is we need to pull out the dies. We need a die for this guy right here. And the other die we're going to use is we're going to use the second smallest of the stylish shapes. So what we need to do is we need to cut it out, and we don't need the embossing folder, number 3. You can toss that one, but we do need number 1. And we need both of our number 2s. So one on the bottom, and we're going to have to run this through 2 times. There's that guy underneath, and there's this guy. I'm going to get a little post-it note, put it here, and this guy here. I could put one on there too. Okay, we're getting all of our elements. So we're going to glue this down. Now I am going to use liquid glue. So pull in your liquid glue and just put that everywhere, and it's going to go right in the middle, and there you can eyeball it. And this is when I do want to use my liquid glue because it's going to give me time to set up. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some dimensionals on here. Okay, so they're going to go on with dimensionals, and I don't need to put dimensionals everywhere. I just need to put dimensionals sort of on this spot right here. So I'm going to pull those in. I'm getting close to being done. Oh, there's one right there. My dimensionals. And this is the point when they start to stick to everything. And I think maybe I will do one a little, maybe right a little higher up. Now you don't want to go too high. When you go too high, you run the risk of it because it does need to stick out a little bit. So if you put one here, it's going to be on higher than the bag. So let's get our backings off here. So did everybody put in where you would, who you would give the bag, these bags, and what you would put in them? Now here's something that you want to think about when you are putting this down. I could put this like this right now, but this bottom piece is sticking off the bottom. So we want these to stand up like that. So you don't want it, you want it to be flush with the bottom, but not go any further. Okay, so we're going to put that guy right there. We are going to put a little dab of glue right in the middle there, and then we're going to put a dimensional here and a dimensional here. We don't need much, again, just a little bit. So I'm using my dimensionals up. Does anybody not do this with their dimensionals? You know, cut around the edges. Because if you don't, you're leaving a little bit of moolah on the table. So make sure you do it. Okay, so then you're just going to crisscross those. Again, I'm a little too far down. So make sure that I'm not going any further than the bottom. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to use some of the gold holly leaves. So these are on the last chance list and they are 60% off right now. So they're $4.10 and you get 30 leaves and they come in two sizes. Okay, so you can see there's the larger size and there's the smaller size. So we are going to use one large one, one small one. And I'm going to pull out right now because I think we're going to use more a little bit later. I'm just going to push those off to the side. So $4.10, great deal. Now to put these on, I have found that my glue dots work the best. So I'm going to pull one leaf out. So I put that right on top of my glue dot, fold it back. You know, they changed these a little while ago. They actually changed these so that the glue dot is on this part. I'm still finding it hard to get used to that. So I'm going to pull this guy off. Yeah, I think I'm going to pull that guy off, and I want one to maybe go in from behind here. Now, before we do that, just look at where this is going to go. So I'm going to put that a little bit here because I do want it to stick out. I think I'm going to lift off with my fingers. I just have a paper cut on that finger, and same with this one. He's going to go down this way though. Okay, I don't like to have a diagonal exactly like this, like a diagonal like that guy. So I'm going to put one more dimensional here now that I know where those things are going. Take that off. Get him set up. And I'm going to just use liquid glue on this. Don't put it upside down. Put it in the middle. Try and get it straight. It looks pretty straight. Okay, let that sit up for just a little bit. So let's bring in what we're going to put in it. So I've got just a little bag of marshmallows that I've just tied with the same ribbon. That's going to go in there. Now I wanted to run out today and get some fancy hot chocolate and I didn't have time, but a Nestle Carnation hot chocolate will fit in there just perfectly. Now this, what it actually is meant to do, and I'm thinking because we have a red candy cane, so it's just red, there's no green in there, but what it does is it goes through like this. That is what they are meant to do. So I'm thinking green might be the best. Well, maybe not. Let's see what the red looks like. So what it does, my inclination is to do what I just did. Pull it in, push it in from the back, but you want to push it in from the front, bring it around the side. See, so that might actually work better if it is red. I'm thinking it just has some contrast to it. Okay, so I'm going to leave that on. We are going to put this guy in behind. I'm going to glue that down, put it up here. I'm going to bring in these little guys again with my dots. See if I can do it a little bit easier this time. Put that right on the glue dot. Lift off the whole thing. Place it there. Put a glue dot on the big one. Big one's a little easier. It's just got a little bit more room. And put it off down here maybe. Like I said, I don't like things being exactly diagonal. And then we're going to put our candy cane wishes and mistletoe kisses there. I'm going to put that on with 2 minis. I was just looking at where my words are. Actually, I'm going to use more. I'm going to put it on with 4. I wanted to have a little bit of movement going on there. And we're just going to put that right on top. And then that's going to go in our little bag like that. So that is your project. So this is why you do need to have a bit of a longer ribbon. Your ribbon can also just sort of sit in there. I have a smaller piece on the other one, but isn't that cute? Let me show you the one that I made. It's almost exactly the same, except a little, I used the one with the candy cane on the outside, and I also used this type of candy cane, the one that is a candy cane but not the cane part, Just a little caveat on this one is you have to, you can maybe see by looking at it, you have to push it through a little bit more. This is a little bit better size. So the size of your candy cane does make a difference. Okay, so, and you can see here also, this is a much smaller ribbon on this one than I have on that one. But there's what they look like together.